Now.
Oh! Oh, God. Oh.
Now?
Now I'm recording, yeah.
You ever get stuck on Wikipedia and just find yourself in some bizarre corner and then you just look at it and you think, what are words?
All the time.
Well, I did.
I have a
And
Wikipedia page open up right now. It's the it's David Rosenhan's experiment for being sane in insane places. It's a psychological study where he put a bunch of sane people in mental institutions, like they faked having schizophrenia to get in there, and then they were like, "All right, I'm fine now. Here's check it out. Let me prove to you that I'm not crazy." And the staff was so suspicious of them that they forced them all to admit to being schizophrenic and take several psychiatric drugs before they would let them get out.
Well, I am on the article Baryon in the Standard Model of Particle Physics, and I just thought I'd read you the sentences that open it up to just to test to see if you can actually understand one thing that they say.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
Let's
I'm down.
begin.
Let's do it.
A baryon is a composite subatomic particle made of 3 quarks. A triquark, as distinct from mesons, which are composed of 1 quark and 1 antiquark.
Okay, now you're
Baryons
starting
and
to lose me.
mesons belong to the hadron family of particles, which are the quark-based particles. The name baryon comes from the Greek
Is
word
Quark
for
the one
heavy.
with the weird big ears on his head?
Because at the time of their naming, most known elementary particles have lower masses than the baryons. As quark-based particles,
It was me, Baryon.
baryons participate in the strong interactions, whereas leptons, which are not quark-based, don't. The most familiar baryons are the protons and neutrons that make up most of the mass of the visible matter in the universe. Electrons, the other main component of the atom, are leptons. Each baryon has a corresponding antiparticle, antibaryon, where quarks are replaced by their corresponding antiquarks.
Getting a little complicated here.
For example, a proton is made of 1 up quark and 1 down quark.
Having a hard time following now.
And its corresponding particle, the antiproton, is made up of 2 antiquarks and 1 down antiquark.
Down anti-quark sounds like a sex position.
Okay.
Hey, baby, want to bend over and get into the down anti-quark position?
So here are the particles of the elementary particles. There are the Higgs boson. There's the Higgs, which is a scalar boson. There are the gauge bosons, which is the W boson, the Z boson, the photon, and the gluon. There are the quarks, which is the up quark, the charm quark, the top quark, the down quark, the strange quark, and the bottom quark.
The strange quark?
Yes. There
And
are
the
the
bottom
leptons,
quark.
which is the electron, the
I guess
muon,
you could
the
say
tau.
they're both queer types of quarks.
There's the leptons, which are the electron, the muon, the tau, the electron neutrino, the muon neutrino, and the tau neutrino.
This is starting to make me physically exhausted. Like, I feel like I've been running all day.
Okay, let's see. Fermions. The standard model includes 12 particles of spin 1/2 known as fermions. According to the spin statistics theorem, fermions respect the Pauli exclusion principle. Each fermion has a corresponding antiparticle. The fermions of the standard model are classified by how they interact, or equivalently by what charges they carry. They are 6 quarks and 6 leptons.
Now he's dying now. He's just choking to death on it. It's totally reasonable.
This is why quantum physics is insanity.
I would not be able to have the patience for that. I'm no Gordon Freeman there. I'm just a man who's fighting the spider tank boss in Spawn Armageddon.
You are a quark.
You're a quark.
No, you.
You're a downward quark. Or a downward anti-quark. Is that what it's called?
No, they're the top and the bottom quarks. And the anti-quarks.
Bottom anti-quark? There was one that was downward anti-quark.
And there's the
which
strange
confused
one.
me.
That one's pretty normal by comparison to the rest.
There's the normal quarks, but then there's that fucking weird, strange quark. No one talks about that strange quark-ass quark.
Yeah.
You know, the bosses in this Spawn game are kind of like hilariously easy because you just gotta kind of circle around them and poke at them with your chains. Because you just have like this chain that shoots directly out of your belt buckle and just whips at stuff while you're standing perfectly still. You just stand there and just whip the fuck out of them with it. And like, you don't even have to really move. You just kind of like lazily sidle around them in a circle while jabbing them in the ass over and over with your belt buckle.
Hey, that's domestic abuse. We don't stand for that here.
No, Daddy Spawn, don't get the belt again. and then in Keith David's voice he goes, "You're about 5 seconds away from wearing that smile around your ass." You know?
Don't do that.
Don't do what?
Whatever it is you're doing, it's really painful.
Okay.
It's stupid.
You're painful and stupid.
No, you.
No, you.
You know what else is painful and stupid?
Avengers stan accounts on Twitter that want to jerk off to Tom Holland all the time.
No, it's the Dark Phoenix movie over at 20th Century Fox.
Is that canceled yet?
No. They're doing reshoots.
Of course! What the fuck? That movie got done filming like 5 months ago.
Well, it's better than New Mutants, which they're basically filming all over a second time.
Is that what they're like? Is that how heavy the reshoots are for that?
Well, I mean, they delayed it for basically a year, so I'd assume so.
I thought it was just because like this year is like so super saturated with fucking superhero things that it wouldn't make any money because everyone's too busy, you know, watching Avengers and Deadpool. It's like, who's gonna be like, yeah, New Mutants, that's the one I'm excited for in 2018. That's a
raise his hand slowly and embarrassedly.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so here's the thing. So, Dark Phoenix is directed by Simon Kinberg, the co-writer of X-Men 3, The Last Stand, X-Men Days of Future Past, and X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay.
It was principal photography began last June, and then it wrapped in October, but now they pushed it back from March to February because they wanted some work on reshoots, and it was a scheduling conflict because they couldn't get, I don't know, like Jennifer Lawrence or something back.
Jennifer Lawrence just doesn't want to be there, and they have to keep like figuring out like more expensive ways to bribe her to show up.
Well, also she's doing other stuff.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
She's too busy being super loved and famous right now.
I'm sorry. I was implying. that it was just her. I don't know. It could have been any of the other 200,000 people that they have on set. So, speaking of which, Simon Kinberg is assigned to direct a spy movie with it was a big deal at Cannes, where he's gonna fund a spy movie that's gonna be starring Jessica Chastain, who plays Lilandra in New Mutants, or rather, Dark Phoenix. Are you excited yet?
I'm not. You're just saying words now, and it's a combination of Skype being broken and me also not caring at all.
You don't care about Lilandra and
everything you're saying
Dark
is
Phoenix?
fading in and out, and reminds me of sadness and depression.
Well, I mean, so that's
True.
just your life anyway. So why should you care?
That's very true, David. I hung up on you on Skype, and now I'm calling you back because that's how fucking bad the signal is. I'm waiting. It's ringing. It's ringing. I'm waiting for it to... I'm waiting. How are you, audience? You having a good day? You doing anything interesting right now? Yeah, me neither. I'm just playing Spawn Armageddon. I wonder why I'm playing this comic book related video game. I wonder what I could possibly be up to.
What?
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 Oh, there you are. Do we need to resync since, like, we already did it earlier?
We could try.
It's fine. It's fine. It's
we can
fine.
just cut it out. 1,
2,
3,
4,
5. Okay, we're good.
6. Okay. Okay, so, like, every time anyone talks about X-Men movies now, like, and their plans for them, other than, like, X-Force and Deadpool, I keep going, they're still doing that? Oh, no. Like, I get, like, this secondhand embarrassment. I'm like, that's really sad that they're still trying.
I mean, like, until the Disney deal goes into effect, they're still part of a different publicly traded entertainment conglomerate. So.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah, so it's going to be kind of interesting post-Infinity War. Because X-Men Dark Phoenix, or Dark Phoenix because they got rid of the X-Men because, you know, it's super dark and serious now, you guys. It's going to be going into space after Infinity War.
We'll have to meet Cyclops' fucking space pirate dad. Remember that shit?
So here's the premise of the movie. In 1992, nearly a decade after the events of X-Men Apocalypse...
I bet they'll have all the same cast members, too, so it'll be, like, really confusing why no one fucking ages.
The X-Men are national heroes going on increasingly risky missions.
I hear Beast dies.
When a solar flare hits them during a rescue mission in space, Jean Grey loses control.
What the fuck are they rescuing in space? They were like they're like a mutant rights group. Why would they be in space? What mutants are in space that are going to need their help?
The X-Men are national heroes going on increasingly risky missions. When a
That's
solar
not
flare
right.
hits them during a rescue mission in space, Jean Grey loses control of her abilities and unleashes the Phoenix.
My sister is named Phoenix.
Wouldn't it be funny if she was in the movie secretly?
It would take a lot for her to have hidden that from me. I would be very impressed. Oh, so that's why you went to the set of X-Men Dark Phoenix for, like, 6 weeks.
That's why you flew all the way up to Canada.
It wasn't to go skiing, it was to bamboozle me!
Mm-hmm. Because these X-Men films often shoot in the Canadas.
Yeah.
I mean, Deadpool is the most obvious about it because it's just like, yep,
well, he's
we're
from
Vancouver.
Canada.
We're just Vancouver. We're not gonna.
I kind of appreciate that because everyone's always like, it's like having a superhero for Vancouver is kind of interesting because they're always in like fictional city land number 52 or New York.
And then Montreal is the place where they film the other X-Men movies. It like in Days of Future Past, it stood in for Paris in the whole Paris scene.
Yeah. I very
because
much
Montreal
appreciate
is another
that
one of
Deadpool
those
does
French's
not hide
places.
the fact that he's in Canada.
Well, why didn't Ryan Reynolds have a Canadian accent though?
Ryan Reynolds is literally from Canada.
Exactly. He needs to put on a Canadian accent.
He needs to talk like a Canuck. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like he needs to like talk about.
He needs to talk about what he needs to use a boot.
A boot
and sorry.
Like, sorry, Colossus.
He's not Canadian enough.
He needs to talk about how much he loves hockey.
So I'm curious about both Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, because Dark Phoenix is going to be the film that will make or break whatever
any potential future X-Men.
Any potential future X-Men movies.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw a guess out there. You can tell me if you agree with me, and you can also come back in several months after I've been proven wrong or right.
What?
I think that after X-Men Apocalypse, no one gives a shit anymore. And it's going to be a scenario similar to that of, like, Justice League, where it's like, we're just putting this movie out just, like, because we were contractually obligated to, even though no one wants to be there anymore.
It's got the Deadpool release on Valentine's Day / President's Day weekend.
So, the 9th movie in this franchise is now...
No, it's got the Deadpool / Black Panther release date.
Okay.
So it's been proven that you can launch a big superhero movie on that date.
Yeah,
Fox
but like this is like a billionth sequel in a franchise, while as those had like special circumstances. One being about the first black superhero, and the other one being Black Panther.
Yes, and then this is just gonna make or break the rest of the series, because much like Deadpool, if this movie does well enough, I have a feeling that Disney is going to put aside the whole let's integrate them into our universe thing if it makes money. But
so I'm going to go ahead and guess that it won't, and then Disney is just going to stick its fingers right up in the X-Men franchise's like tight little bum and be like, "You're ours now!" And X-Men will be like, "Oh God, please, no, Mickey, I don't want this."
That's why he's wearing the white gloves.
Oh, God. This is the scariest, like, saddest thing I've ever said. I feel genuinely bad for that joke.
I'm very curious about X-Men Dark Phoenix, because it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be
I don't know if it's going to be good. It could
They're
be
going to space. The space stuff is the dumbest part of X-Men. Cyclops' dad is a fucking space pirate. Professor X fucks a queen called Lilandra, who's the
She's in the movie. She's played by Jessica Chastain.
So stupid. She has a big, dumb, weird, like helmet that looks stupid.
Listen, I know that Jessica Chastain is a very accomplished actress who is basically one of the most talented working actors in the industry right now, but all I can think about when I see Jessica Chastain's face is her saying that she should have gotten as much money for The Martian as Matt Damon.
Wasn't she in it like for like 3 or 4 scenes while he was in it for the entirety of the movie?
Exactly.
That's obnoxious.
But pay equality.
You see, that's why people discredit the wage gap, is because people say dumb shit like that.
I mean, like, I get Jennifer Lawrence's argument with pay equality, but like, I'm not sure I'm
what was her deal again?
She was paid basically like a tenth or some like fraction of what like Christian Bale was paid for like it wasn't Silver Linings Playbook, it was American Hustle. And like,
even though they shared almost like similar amount of screen time, that's bullshit. No, she has every right to complain about that.
Yeah, so that's...
You can't just be like, well, he's the more famous one because he was Batman. Like, no, that shouldn't affect you pay the people for the amount of work they're doing.
Well, I mean, the other thing is that with acting and with like all that's the movie industry, most jobs aren't like permanent positions. They're contractors.
Yeah.
So you'll have your agent and you'll negotiate, and women often don't negotiate as hard.
Interesting.
But anyway, enough about Dark Phoenix, unless there's something else you want to say.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm really excited to meet Cyclops' space pirate dad, because that's the dumbest shit ever. And I hope the movie makes, like, no money. Not because I want the X-Men in the MCU, just because I'm tired of Fox making X-Men movies, because they just... Every time they take a step forward with a movie like Days of Future Past, they take 2 steps back with something like Apocalypse.
So,
you know.
okay, so let's talk about New Mutants for a moment instead, moving on. So New Mutants is coming out next year. So like the big I'm not sure how credible or how credible this is. But there was a big report that I watched, that I've read, inside the drama behind New Mutants. Is part of it is that Simon Kinberg, who directed Dark Phoenix, is a producer on New Mutants, or is the producer on New Mutants. And a producer is the guy who, manages. He keeps everything.
He's the guy
in
you have
charge.
to please the most.
Exactly.
Even though he's doing the least amount of work, like he's just giving you the money, and if he's not happy with what you're spending his money on, he's gonna get pissed.
Only problem is he was also directing his directorial debut, Dark Phoenix, at the same time.
So he's micromanaging someone else's movie
No.
while also trying.
He wasn't.
Okay.
That was the thing. So part of it.
So wait, do you mean that because he was too busy directing Dark Phoenix, they were able to get away with a lot of stuff they probably wouldn't be able to?
No. Is that originally the original version of the movie that they pitched, that the director pitched, Josh Boone, director of all things The Fault in Our Stars, he wanted to make a horror movie. More of a horror-inspired movie, taking a lot of inspiration from things like Nightmare on Elm Street, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I could see a lot of Dream Warriors vibes in that fucking trailer.
He cited that as a direct influence on his film.
There you go.
And, but then they decided that wouldn't be marketable, so they decided to tone down on the horror elements and make something closer in tone to, like,
a little
Stranger
more superhero-y.
Things.
This whole thing sounds so much like Fantastic Four to me.
No. Here's what it is. So they decided to tone it down. This is not the directors and the studio being in conflict. It's the directors and the studio making creative decisions together. So they decided to make it something closer in tone, what I would describe as like Stranger Things, which is like a John Hughes vibe, but with horror elements.
Which I guess could also work considering the teenage cast.
Mm-hmm. But then the test screenings happened, and they were like, it's good, not great. And then they decided after It came out,
you gotta make it more like It.
They decided, hey, well, what it proved to the studio was that hard R horror movies can get teenagers' butts into seats.
So many teenage butts.
So, with that in mind, they went back and said, let's make this horror again.
So they're essentially having to make the movie 3 times because they've been too wishy-washy.
Twice. 2 times. Is what he's going back to what he wanted to do first, but the studio talked him back from that.
Ugh. That does not bode well.
So he's going back to more of the Josh Boone's original sort of horror-inspired vision.
Yeah. I just, at this point, it sounds to me like such a DC movie.
Well,
or like a recent Star Wars movie. Where it's just like too many cooks in the kitchen, too many fingers in the pie.
How are there cooks in the Star Wars kitchen? Oh yeah, because you're thinking Rogue One and like Han Solo. Okay, so here's the big difference for me is that with Fantastic Four and with Han Solo,
which you and I both had a lot of unwarranted confidence in.
Exactly.
And we looked so stupid.
Yes. With Han Solo, with Rogue One, with Suicide Squad even, there was a difference, is that the reshoots were being brought on by the studio against the director's vision, especially with something like Fantastic Four, where they went back from the horror elements. They tried to make it more of a superhero movie, while this is they're moving in the opposite direction. And
where they're like, okay, let's try what the director wanted originally.
Exactly. That's one thing that's interesting, and the other thing is that there's not a lot of reportedly. Of course, this is all rumor and hearsay, so I can't exactly tell you if it's true or not, but it's more the original vision of the director working with the studio and being like, okay, let's do this.
All right. Well, I guess that does add a little bit of confidence, because it's like, it's not, you know, while with like a recent Star Wars movie, it feels like they put out a product, they realized like while 80% completed that suddenly it's like not as marketable as they wanted to, and they can't figure out the formula to make a shit zillion dollars, even though
Han Solo,
all they need to do is have Star Wars.
It was creative conflict, because it was basically Phil Lord and Chris Miller got fired because they were making something more, if not overtly comedic, then lighthearted over what over the creative intentions of the writer of the script, which is Lawrence Kasdan and his son Jake Kasdan. Those two co-wrote the script, and then Lawrence Kasdan was like, I don't like this. This isn't my intent. And then he went to the studio, and Kathleen Kennedy got them fired.
He basically told on them.
Yeah, and because he is the guy who wrote Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, he got his way.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fair. He gets a little bit of leeway on that.
And so that's what happened with Han Solo. And this is...
Well, to me, I just always like see this kind of thing where you could tell they're trying to figure out what the exact amount of things to plug in it will be that can like appease the the focus groups. Like they have these test audiences of a bunch of like dumb schlubs that they bring in, and you know they're like the Transformers crowd, and they show them the movie, and then they go, well, I think you should change this, and then they have to like dumb the movie down for those people. And they just do that so many times, and I'm just like, it's the reason like the ending of I Am Legend is all screwed up. I just like, I hate that mentality of like looking at it like it's a corporate product, like what will make the most money.
So I'm very curious to see what happens with New Mutants, because again, this is a very distinct situation because they're not he is not it's not a creative conflict. It's not the studio saying, oh, we don't like what you're making. It's the director being given the opportunity. We weren't confident
in what you were making originally, but now we want you to try it again.
Exactly. So that's a very different situation, and I'm gonna watch it because I'm just curious. And
I think you and I are also way too forgiving of X-Men movies and always want them to be good.
Yes.
Even though we know they won't.
So, although they will be beaten to the punch by Venom when it comes to horror-themed superhero fare.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Venom is in October, and New Mutants comes out next August.
That's unfortunate, because weren't they originally going to come out before Venom?
They were going to come out this April.
Damn. Way to screw themselves over. They were going to be like... That's like if they accidentally had to push back Wonder Woman so Captain Marvel came out first. It was like hyped up to be the first of its kind as something, and then whoops.
Well, I'd rather them be good than be first.
True. What's your take on the Venom movie? Because I think everyone knows my stance on it. I actually don't really know what you think. I'm going to imagine a strong meh.
It will be good if they pass it through the VFX render machine a couple more times.
Because it looks a little not great right now.
It looks a little bit plasticky.
My friend Jacob makes me laugh so much because he is so angry and opposed to this movie. Like he is always throwing in such really clever, like really angry sounding jabs at the Venom movie. Like we were watching Spider-Man 3 the other day, because we rewatched that whole trilogy with my girlfriend too, and he was like, "Hey, look, it's Venom, except he doesn't look like a cartoon character," and it just made me burst out laughing.
Yeah, that's my big problem. Is that I think that the VFX have got to be perfect, because in order for Venom to be scary, he needs to look
If
realistic.
he looks like Venom will not be scary and threatening if he looks like a cartoon.
I mean, cause I looked at like Spider-Man 3, and the Venom
It looks pretty
there,
good.
it looks a little bit more like some actual like tentacle stuff, and like if they can get the balance between Spider-Man 3 Venom and Venom, as in the trailers, I think that it can be good.
Okay. Well, I'm still like, I have confidence that Venom himself will probably look pretty good, but I'm just so concerned that they're gonna not know how to write this character because he's kind of complicated, and it's really easy to do like a dumbed down idiot version of him that is like way more like they're gonna Flanderize him like they did with like Deadpool initially before like kind of fixing that later.
Good thing the movie has got 4 credited writers.
Oh god. Oh god.
And
And everyone's like, "Well, don't worry, Homecoming had like 8." And I'm like, that's not a good example.
So I think that like
Because Homecoming, I don't like Homecoming. You know what? We talked about this when we tried to record this podcast the other day, and that recording got all fucked up. I think I finally settled on it. I realized that I don't actually really like Homecoming all that much. Like, it's not terrible, but boy, is there a lot I would fix.
So it's gonna be so the director has said this Venom movie will be primarily based on Venom, Lethal Protector, and Planet of the Symbiotes.
He said it wrong. It's not how you say that word.
Symbiote.
Symbiote.
I don't care.
No.
I don't
like symbiosis. Like, I don't
care.
Motherfucker, I'll kill you. Anyway,
Okay,
so here's my problem, is that Planet of the Symbiotes, you know what that storyline's about?
No.
The whole fucking, like, entire continental U.S. gets invaded by symbiotes. Like they just show up from a spaceship and then just invade and take over everything. And then Spider-Man, Venom, Scarlet Spider, and, like, I can't remember, I feel like someone else was there, but probably not. They all have to team up and stop them, and then, inevitably, the only way that the symbiote invasion gets rectified is because Carnage starts eating all of them to make himself stronger. And then he becomes like a big kaiju monster, and they have to fight him at the end. Yeah. That does not sound like a good idea for the first movie in this trilogy, having the symbiote invasion thing.
I think that that's going to be something they're going to build up to. I think they're going to take some inspiration from that in the idea that there are going to be symbiotes that are going to try and do stuff. But I don't think they're not going to spend the budget to have a huge like a action horror aliens type thing in the first round.
I think at most, if we're gonna go like crazy and have more than just Venom and possibly Carnage, I think at most we'll get the 5 Venoms, which is like,
that's probably what it is.
There's 5 of them. They're like a bunch of military guys with symbiotes that are all like very woefully insane and can't control them. Unlike Eddie, who can control them.
So prediction. Here's going to be the plot of Venom.
Okay.
Tom Hardy reporter man is investigating a shady biotech company run by Middle Eastern man. And then he...
Hey, look, everyone, it's Moon Knight.
And then he breaks in at night and, gets the Venom. And then he's hunt down in that action scene where you see the car chases and all that. And then he continues to evade the bad guys. And then the bad guys, in response, are gonna take the other Venoms, and they're like, And then, of course, evil, shady Middle Eastern corporate guy is going to be like, scientists, use the symbiotes and put them on these like soldier guys so we can hunt down and capture Venom. And then scientists are going to go, but sir, we haven't tested. We're unsure.
But sir, they'll probably not work out like we want them to.
And then corporate guy's gonna go, I don't care, do it.
All I care about is my profits. God damn it.
And then they're going to have a scene where they put the Venom things on, and then
they go crazy.
And then they go crazy.
All the scientists.
And you see the building in the trailer that's like embedded into this hill. And then this is all gonna like close down, and it's gonna
that'll be the climax. No. Eddie has to go there. And
we haven't gotten there yet, but you're in the right direction. It's gonna close down. We're gonna have a horror scene where like An Wei Ying or something has to like escape this facility, and like escape from the Venom symbiotes that's killing everybody inside this quarantine facility, and then she escapes, but but a Venom follows her. Or a symbiote.
Okay.
And then she goes over to Tom Hardy is like, "Oh, hunky boyfriend man, save me." Oh no, and then there's a fight where we see Venom, and then he and the Venom fight. And then he's like, "Oh shit, now these guys are here. We need to go and save them." And then they go to the building, and then they fights them.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
Spider-Man shows up in the last 5 minutes is like, "Hello, I am here also," and then Amy Pascal is like, "I told you so, Kevin."
You see a school bus drive by on the Golden Gate Bridge with Peter's classmates in it.
With Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Peter Parker.
So that's my prediction for the story of the Venom movie. What do you think?
I burped a little.
Okay. So,
I think it'll be some kind of combination of that, alongside a lot of the predictions that I put in my video.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to know who? Do you want to know who also had a pass on the script for the Venom movie around the time that Spider-Man 3 came out? Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese.
Oh, wait. Oh, yes, because, like, they were going to make Venom as a spin-off of Spider-Man 3 for a little while, right? Like, it was, like, in development hell, and they're like, yeah, it'll be like the Topher Grace version, except we'll recast him, but it'll still canonically be the same version? Okay, so here's a dumb thing. Is that because Venom is one of my favorite characters ever, I remember watching Spider-Man 3, and spoiler, when he gets blown up by the grenade at the end, I kept just racking my brain figuring out how he could not be dead because I wanted Venom to come back so there could be carnage in, like, Spider-Man 4 or something. So I was like, okay, what if...
Well, they were going to do a Spider-Man 4 for the longest time.
Yeah, but then, like, 2010, they were like, nah, we can't. Sam Raimi is being a bitch about it.
Yeah.
But he had every right to. But I remember thinking, like, okay, what if Eddie Brock was thrown by the symbiote tentacles off to the side and then landed in a different spot in the construction site, and the symbiote told him about the other sample that was in Dr. Connors' lab, so he was just going to go find that and become Venom again. And I was, like, grasping at straws so hard. It was the same as, like, when X-Men Origins Deadpool was like in the rubble at the end of that movie in its post-credits scene, and I kept going, okay, what if now that his mouth is undone, he could like all of the adamantium could be rejected from his body and like fall out of him, which would scar up his skin super bad, and then all of his extra
cancer
or something, and like make him look more like Deadpool, and then his extra mutant powers would like stop working except the healing factor. And I was like, maybe he takes the swords that were in his arms and then like puts them in some handles and then uses those to be like normal Deadpool again.
I'm pretty sure you've already told me this.
I did when we did the X-Men Origins like commentary track that you refused to release.
So, speaking of Deadpool, you want...
Everyone bug him to do that, because it was really good.
Hey, speaking of which, did you read that article I sent you about Deadpool 2?
Which one?
On art, commercialism, Deadpool 2, and a culture of violence.
No.
Okay, we can run through it together then. Okay, so... You know how everybody on the right wing of the political spectrum, because of certain things that are orange citrus golem of a president has said, has been starting doing the whole, video games and movies are causing a violence thing?
Yes.
Well, I have news for you. This article has made me realize that the right wing aren't the only people that do that.
Oh,
it's the left wing too. Okay, so...
Well,
Deadpool 2. This article says he says, on Friday morning, along with many millions of Americans, I woke to the tragic and all too familiar news of yet another school shooting. This time in Santa Fe High School in Southeast Texas.
Nah.
Blah 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 blah. NRA, gun control, blah blah blah. Gun violence. The unabated epidemic of gun violence in the United States is a complex problem arising at a confluence of factors that include gun access, mental health care, toxic masculinity, class disparity, and racial discrimination, systemic and otherwise. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, what's the bottom line here, fella? What are we getting at here?
We should not be encouraged to laugh when, say, Deadpool, a mentally unstable white dude who proudly doesn't fit into society, and who, confident in his righteousness, never met an injustice he couldn't correct by shooting it, decapitates and dismembers his enemies. Senseless murder and mayhem should not be treated as a joke. So he's basically saying that Deadpool 2 is like, he says, sadly, Deadpool 2 is what passes for subversive in today's popular entertainment landscape, when really it just represents lowest common denominator commercialism at its most crass. So basically he's saying that we should think about movies like Deadpool that, quote-unquote, celebrates violence and asks you to laugh at it as part of the problem for what's causing gun violence in American society. And
yes, the scapegoat.
For a moment,
of the billions of them.
I don't think that he's necessarily talking about it as a scapegoat. But before we do any of that, I want to ask a very important question.
Yes.
Is Deadpool 2 really asking us to laugh at violence in an unexamined fashion?
The whole climax of the movie is trying to convince someone that violence is wrong. Like, they spend, 20 minutes making a point about how, sometimes you have to do, the wrong thing, to do something right. But
the
also,
point of the movie,
sometimes, doing, you have to just do the right thing flat out.
The point of the movie was multifaceted in some way. It was that violence is sometimes necessary to do the right thing, but doing the right thing isn't necessarily being violent. And
yes, that is a
Deadpool
perfect summation
2,
of that.
The character arc of the main character was learning to not just blow things up in a reckless fashion.
He learned how to solve a problem without using violence.
And Vanessa literally died in the opening scene of the movie because he just punched a bunch of people and left without thinking about what he was doing.
Yes, because of his lack of understanding of consequences.
So I would agree with this person's argument if they were talking about Deadpool 1. But
they're talking about Deadpool 2, which is the exact opposite.
Deadpool 1 talks a lot, is definitely a movie that doesn't think about what it's doing. It's a movie.
It's just having mindless fun.
It's a movie
that's what Deadpool 1 is. It's just let's be stupid.
It's a movie whose subversiveness ends at the acknowledgement that this is a movie.
Well, here's a superhero, but he cusses and he's mean.
And he says that he acknowledges that it's a superhero movie.
That's really all that it does to separate itself.
I think that this is kind
of baffling how much better Deadpool 2 is than the first one now. So I think
that Deadpool 2, this person has a very shallow reading of Deadpool 2, because I think that there's a lot of death, and it makes you laugh at that sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's also
when a certain group of characters is dispatched with in increasingly violent ways.
Exactly, and I think that would be my main criticism with the movie, is that there's a big tonal disconnect between the message of the movie and the jokes.
Yeah,
is that
sometimes
comedy,
it kind of undermines itself a little bit.
Sometimes there's some really good jokes. Other times, the jokes that it's doing distract from the tone and the message that it's trying to reach.
Did you notice that they're near the ending scene, it uses the exact same music from Logan at the end?
I did.
I didn't notice that the first time through, and it made me laugh when someone pointed it out to me.
Well, I stayed through Did you notice that? I also stayed. I noticed it. I thought this sounded familiar, and then I also stayed through the credits, and in the songs section, it credited the Logan soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
Yes, I saw that, but I think that this argument saying that Deadpool 2 is a uncritical celebration of violence is somewhat valid, but definitely a very shallow reading of the movie.
Yes, it's like they were watching it while half asleep. So they only got half of the movie that wasn't what they were wanting.
And that's what I think. Because I do have to give Deadpool 2 a lot of credit. I don't like the first movie. I have a video talking about how much I don't like the first movie. And I think that...
I tolerate the first one, but I think there's a lot of things that I would change about it.
Deadpool 2 definitely fixed a lot of my problems with the first movie. Put it this way. I wouldn't... If I wouldn't seek out Deadpool 2. But if somebody were to say, hey, let's sit down and watch Deadpool 2, I wouldn't go, can't we watch something else?
You would do that with Deadpool 1.
I would.
But Deadpool 2, you'd go, all right.
Fine, whatever.
Okay, yeah. You know what? I appreciate that, because that means, they did a good job if a person who really despised the first movie is kind of coming around on the second one.
I don't think it's perfect, and I think that it
Oh, not by a long shot, but I think it's way better. It needed
a cleverer writer to bridge the gap between the comedy and the tragedy.
I think Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick did a much better job.
Yes.
And
Ryan Reynolds had a hand in the script.
Oh yeah, and I actually appreciate that. It's clear how much he actually cares about this series. He's not just looking at it as some kind of way to keep his career alive. He genuinely appreciates and understands this character, and he's trying to do things to appease the fans while also making the best movie he can. I make fun of him a lot, but I feel like Ryan Reynolds, you know what? When he's good, he's good. When he's good, he's really good.
But he's not good very often.
Yeah. So, props to Ryan. High five. We would love to have you on the podcast so you could be way funnier than both of us combined.
Mm-hmm. How about we ask
you... Fucking Jacksepticeye. Fucking stealing my Ryan Reynolds cameo.
Uh-huh.
Bastard.
So, I think that I'm not even going to touch the argument that maybe movies by gleefully celebrating violence over without having consequences to it set up this sort of school shooting stuff and have a hand in that, because that's a can of worms that I just don't care.
Yeah. I'm gonna go over it real quickly. Escapism is escapism. We've had violent stories since the beginning of time, since we were able to tell stories. They did not always encourage violence, nor do I think they do now.
But I do agree.
I think everyone is just trying to figure out a way to come up with a bullshit argument for an actual problem we have, and they don't want to solve the problem because the solution is rough and is going to require a lot of work. So let's find some other thing that we can live without more than the thing that we're gonna probably really need to get rid of.
What I will say, however, is that it's just bad timing for Deadpool 2 to come out the Friday on which Deadpool 2 comes out to be the Santa Fe high school shooting. But they had no control over that, so what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And it's too late to change it because it's Friday. People have already seen it Thursday night, so...
Yeah, that's...
So I'm going to read
It's the same with, like, The Punisher is, like the Las Vegas thing.
Except that they had time to push
it
away. Back. They had time to push it back.
Yeah.
This time they don't. There is much... I'm going to read the last paragraph of this and just let the writing speak for itself.
You know what's really funny is I have 22 guns in my house.
I don't care. Deadpool 2 will make something like $150 million this weekend, and millions of teenagers will go to see it. Many of them will laugh along with it. Perhaps some will be given pause, thinking of the way the threat of gun violence has suddenly and insidiously crept into their lives, and wondering, am I next? It is not unlikely that by the end of the year, some of them will be murdered by a classmate after first bell rings. That's a grammatical mistake. There's much we can do as a country to stop that from happening. Beginning first and foremost with serious, meaningful, and effective gun control measures. But our cultural relationship with violence must not go unexamined. Our humanity and our lives depend on it.
Yeah, no.
I'm not...
Disagree.
I don't think Deadpool 2 is the test case that you want to do about that.
Okay, you know what?
Because,
how about let's yell at Uwe Boll's Rampage?
Yes.
How about let's make that movie The Demon, because it's literally about a guy running around shooting people for fun and like innocent people. He gets in a bulletproof suit and some Uzis and he just runs around killing innocent people in a town, and he's supposed to be celebrated as a hero. That is a movie you could talk about having some problems, because boy, does that teach people the wrong lesson.
Okay, so...
Deadpool 2 is about a man who kills pedophiles.
Okay, so the one piece of criticism that this article has that I agree with is that the after-credits scene where Deadpool uses time travel to undo everything...
Well, just spoiler, by the way. I think that kind of goes without saying. But, yeah, we gotta kind of spoil some stuff.
The end credits scene where Deadpool undoes everything with the time travel machine was the worst part of the movie.
Yes, and I'm, like, upset at any potential future Deadpool movies because now they've, like...
As long as that is not canon, as long as that was just like a ha-ha, wink and nod joke.
I think it is canon.
I'm gonna say it's not. Even if it is canon, I don't care. I'm saying it's not.
Okay. Because, like, they did this really brilliant thing where they combined two of Deadpool's love interest characters that were, like, super important to him into one character, basically. Like, Vanessa, like, became Death, you know, where the only way he could be with her was through dying. And I thought that was really clever of a way to combine those concepts and, like, work in Deadpool's suicidal tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
And then to undo that just fucks everything.
Yeah. I think that I always love...
I'd just like to give a shout out to my friends James and Carlos, who really love 90s X-Men and were talking about how important they thought Shatterstar was. Because I was like, nah, Shatterstar's a shit character and no one cares. And now look what the movie did to him! Look at that! Take that!
I will
Fuck
say
Shatterstar!
that even though I really like Marina Baccarin, I think she's a very talented actress, and she always deserves more, I think they should keep her character dead.
I believe so too.
Because my main criticism with Deadpool 1 was that there were no consequences.
Deadpool wasn't sad.
There was no, like... there are no consequences at the end of that movie for everything that happened in it, because at least for Deadpool the character. Because yes, his face is all roughed up, but he's still got his apartment, he's still got his girlfriend, he's got all these people around him. And I think that the best possible thing they did, which is the best possible option, was to immediately upset that status quo in the very beginning of the next movie.
Well, that to Deadpool to me is a character who's kind of about dealing with loss. Like he everything he has that brings him any level of joy is taken from him in some capacity at some point. Like all of his friends end up hating him because he's such a self-destructive person and he tends to push them away. Or everything that starts to work out for him always ends up getting kind of like sabotaged by fate. And for the first movie to end with him having a happy ending just felt antithetical to that to me.
Anticlimactic.
Yes.
So
like,
I think that
a character that's all about losing, like he says that hurting himself is his superpower, or you know, getting hurt is his superpower.
Like,
for him to get something that works in the end, just doesn't work for me. You know, that was the biggest problem, is that Vanessa is, you know, she left him and then was killed in the books by Sabretooth.
But I think that the angle in the movie of having his carelessness be the thing that killed her was an interesting angle.
Well, that's absolutely in character with Deadpool. I appreciate that a lot. That's because he does a lot of really reckless and stupid things, because he tends to have this thing where
because he can't
forgets.
die.
He forgets that he's immortal and has no consequences, but the people around him that he cares about
don't.
They're not. So you know, he gets them into a lot of trouble, and he's always talking about how like he can't let people really get close to him because he's just chaos walking and he just brings tragedy behind him. So to have people close to him is to just incite that on them. So
that,
it's like Deadpool 2 fucking understands this character or something. Oh my god.
I think that, like,
I really liked it.
I think that there was it was
Makes me happy.
It was flawed, but I think that those dramatic elements were the strongest part of the movie. And I think that there were parts of it that needed improvement.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that that end credit scene ruined it for me.
Yeah.
And that if that is no longer my entire investment upon future films featuring Deadpool are entirely contingent on whether or not that was just a joke or if it was canon.
I don't know at this point. Like, this movie to me was so like close to what I wanted, and I'm so happy with how it came out that I'm just like upset now because I don't think they're gonna do a good enough job to follow it up if they do keep all that. And if they don't keep all that, then they've effectively ruined every good thing they did with this one. So it's like, I don't know, I just can't be... I'm happy and I'm satisfied, which is why I'm not very optimistic now for any other Deadpool movies. So I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting excited for the next one, just because I feel like they got it. You can be done now.
So
you can stop. You nailed it.
So
well, not nailed it, but came pretty damn close.
Can I say I'm also really happy that it's not just right-wing idiots who say that movies and TV and video games are responsible for things. It's also left-wing idiots.
Fucking... Just don't be any wing, because they're both stupid.
Well, I mean...
Maybe just stop wearing jerseys and being on either side and just be a person who has, like, nuanced opinions maybe you can be like pro-choice, but like pro-gun, or maybe you could be like anti-choice and anti-gun. I don't know. Like maybe you can not just follow the herd and like have different opinions about different issues that are kind of unrelated.
Nah, fuck you.
You don't
that's
have
crazy.
to immediately assume that everyone on your side of the political spectrum is automatically a good person and everyone on the other side is automatically a bad person, because people are more complicated than that. Well,
come on.
I'm a Republican, so obviously the president I voted for is a great guy.
Talking
well, I'm a Democrat,
hey,
and obviously my president spent 8 years doing nothing wrong.
This is not a politics podcast. So, talking about
I hate everyone!
Talking about something a little bit less controversial, what do you think about Lando Calrissian being pansexual, but not really in Han Solo? Also...
What an awesome segue!
Also, I will never not call Solo a Star Wars story Han Solo.
Well, yeah, it's just Han Solo.
It's Han Solo. Stop calling it Solo a Star Wars story. That's a terrible fucking name. That's awful. It's just the worst. So,
everyone, shut up.
What do you think of Donald Glover joining Ryan Reynolds in the pansexual, but not really category?
I don't care.
I mean, unless of course, Ryan Reynolds grabbing Colossus's butt wasn't just a joke.
You know, like, I feel like there's evidence to suggest that Deadpool might be also interested in men, having read all of his books. Sometimes he has some very, let's say, less than PG dreams about putting baby oil on Cable's robot arm. So like, I guess I could kind of vaguely understand the logic behind that, because there was a lot of spots. I don't believe he wants to fuck Spider-Man. I wish everyone would stop that. I feel like that is not a thing at all, and everyone who pushes for that is a brain-dead idiot.
But Andrew Garfield and Ryan Reynolds kissed when they were drunk at the Golden Globes a couple of years ago.
He's not Spider-Man anymore. If it was Tom Holland, it would have A, been a crime, because Ryan Reynolds is underage.
Yeah.
And B, yeah. And B, that would give a little bit more credence to that, because it's like a guy who's actually Spider-Man and not hipster vampire man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, regarding Donald Glover, Lando Calrissian.
Anyway, stop talking about how Ryan Reynolds kissed Andrew Garfield. He's a married man. Do you know?
Blake Lively was sitting right next to him and was so happy.
What was it? Yeah, Blake Lively was like, haha, that's super funny.
Because she also was thinking about kissing Andrew Garfield the whole time, like the rest of us were.
Yeah.
I mean, what? But, okay, so here's the thing about Lando Calrissian.
Uh-huh.
Is that his sexuality has never been like an actual story element. We had 2 movies of that. Not really, like, he just kind of flirted with Leia a little bit. I don't think there's any evidence to really suggest that, like, he's not pansexual. Like,
I think that, like, in a galaxy populated with all these alien races, there's a definitely interesting angle you could go with that sort of stuff, given how many different aliens there are.
Pansexual, when it comes to living on boring normal Earth, it's a little bit more confusing, because there's only, like two people.
Mm-hmm.
You got men's and women's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like.
I mean,
I'm still having a hard time having the pan part explained to me. To me, it just sounds so, like being bisexual.
I'm not an expert at this because I've never taken a gender studies class, but from
what is it also
from my
being attracted to trans people?
From my understanding is that being bisexual means that you're attracted to males and females in their specific way that they are.
Okay.
Being pan means, like, you don't give a shit what kind of genitals they have and what they look like as long as you think they're attractive.
No, I mean, I know trans girls that I think are attractive. Like, does that mean that I'm pansexual?
No.
Or does that mean I'm just straight and open-minded?
Yes. It means,
it's confusing.
It basically means, let's see, so, okay, here it is. I mean, even on this Wikipedia page that I just went to, it says there's often a debate between the two. But, like, when you're adding, like, the idea of aliens and different species being in there, you could open up a lot of interesting...
Oh, well, yeah, with Star Wars, there's, like, a billion species out there. Like, there's that lady who's a Jedi who has 2 big blue tentacles hanging out the back of her head. Or whatever the hell Ahsoka is. Or, like... Like, you know, there's
and
Jabba
robots.
the Hutt. I wonder, what do the females of Jabba the Hutt species look like? Do you think those are fuckable?
What if Jabba the Hutt is a female?
Oh my god, that changes everything. Jabba the Hutt is the first lesbian character in science fiction.
Yeah. There are no other lesbian characters in science fiction ever.
Okay, that's our new headcanon, is that Jabba the Hutt is actually a woman and was like Slave Leia was her... Yeah, alright. I appreciate this new lore.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I bet Dane is listening to this podcast and just, like, shaking his head.
Hey, Dane.
Hey, Dane. Good job on those pages you've been drawing lately for that other book we're working on. It's really good. I keep showing it to people. Here, I'll send it to David right now.
So...
Anyway...
Yeah. I don't know what to really say. I mean, I just don't care. I mean, like saying that...
We can't even figure out what to say about Lando Calrissian. Like, I just don't care. Like, Star Wars sucks.
Just like saying that Deadpool is pansexual.
Oh my god, I'm one of those people now!
It doesn't matter if it's not in the story.
Oh, yeah. Well, if it's just, like, one of those, like, extra lore things, like... For example, there's a character in my comic that I'm writing who's bisexual. His sexuality is never addressed. It's just something that I know about the character. At no point does he ever talk about expressing attraction to men or women either way. It's just a thing that I like to keep in mind while writing the character. If it's like one of those things, then like sure, whatever. Like,
and I think that's what the co-writer of the script said when he mentioned that in an interview. And of course, the internet has blown up after that.
The internet has a tendency to blow up like that.
So, yeah.
So anyway, I don't know, man.
Hey, are you excited for Paul Feig's Gone Girl?
No.
Well, it's a movie starring Blake Lively called A Simple Favor, so... Here's your trailer.
No. What? No. God, no. Why would you do this?
The director of Ghostbusters is making his version of Gone Girl, where instead of a guy searching after his wife. My brain is
What are you,
fried.
bisexual? Can't you get it right?
My brain is fried. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Alright, so there's not Squirrel Girl.
It centers
in this
around
trailer.
Anna Kendrick's character, who is a mommy blogger/vlogger, who seeks to uncover the truth behind her best friend's sudden disappearance in their small town.
Everyone's gonna make so many lesbian jokes about this movie.
So it's gonna be like a sort of a light-hearted, less serious version of Gone Girl. And I think it looks fine. My one complaint...
Why do I feel like I've seen a trailer for this already?
My one complaint for it is that seeing the trailer, I don't see the same visual flair that was present in Gone Girl, which I think was such a big part of that movie's success.
I'm just watching this trailer and rolling my eyes.
Why?
Because I feel like I saw another trailer for a totally different movie that reminded me exactly of this.
Maybe you just saw this trailer.
No, like I feel like there's another one. I can't remember what it's about. It's like there's a guy chasing after, like, he's like a teenage guy and he meets this girl. And then it's not Paper Towns. It's not that. It's something that hasn't come out yet.
I know what you're talking about.
You know, right?
Yes.
And like they have like a really romantic thing, but then suddenly she goes missing.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he has to solve some kind of puzzle that she left behind.
It's called, is it Under the Silver Lake?
Maybe? That sounds right.
Isn't that how it's funny how there's this whole subgenre of like romantic love interests going missing and then somebody having to go and find them?
I have to find this girl is my new favorite subgenre film.
Oh, this one stars Andrew Garfield.
That's what it was. Yeah. That I was like, it stars some guy who's like a hipster teen heartthrob actor man.
It's from the
I was
guy
like,
who
oh,
made
it was specifically him. What'd you say?
It's from the guy who made It Follows.
It Follows is pretty good. I mean, except for the ending.
Haven't seen it.
Basically, it's just like they have this really interesting fictional monster. This is my non-spoiler review. They have this really interesting fictional monster that has really clearly defined rules and has like a very specific, set of circumstances for how it functions. And then, instead of using some kind of clever thing to defeat this monster based on how it works, instead they just find a really dumb, unrelated way to kill it that has like nothing to do with anything, and it's like really confusing as to how the fuck that even worked. It's like a good example of the opposite is that Freddy Krueger, he can attack you in your dreams, but if you they find out that they grab his hat and then wake up, and then they wake up from the dream holding his hat. So that means if you can grab something from the dream, you can and wake yourself up, you can bring it to the physical world. So their plan was, I'm going to grab Freddy in my dream, and then I'm going to pull him to the real world where he's mortal, and then you hit him with a baseball bat, right? That works. That works within the rules of the monster. You know what? I'll just spoil it, because, fuck it. It Follows. Basically, they just lead the monster into a pool and then throw a bunch of toasters in it and electrocute it. And it's like, why does that work? You know?
I don't know.
Did you just totally zone out for that entire thing?
I was listening. I just wasn't really super invested.
Oh.
So anyway, I think we've
right.
disclosed previously that I don't really care that much about a film that I haven't even seen. So, when you describe,
Did you just send me a trailer for Black Klansman?
Did you watch this?
No.
Trailer? Okay.
What the fuck is this?
Because, I just wanted to run this by you, because I don't think it's a secret to our audience that you and I live in the best state in the country, right?
Yeah, which is New York.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
This movie is set in the Springs. And
oh, really?
It was filmed not in the Springs.
Oh.
And it was very obvious to tell that. And I just want to...
I'm looking at this trailer, and this does not look at all like where we're from.
Exactly. So it was filmed in upstate New York. I
was making a joke earlier.
Like Westchester County, outside New York metro area.
Fuck you. I mean, come on. They're actually working on tax breaks, in this state.
No, they got rid of them.
I thought...
Because thanks, Republicans.
God damn it. You're just as bad as those liberalmans. Everyone just fucking quit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's kind of hilarious.
Welcome to the most apolitical podcast of all time.
It's kind of hilarious to like. I get now watching this trailer. I just want to say this. I get what people who live in like New York get whenever like they
see like Vancouver.
They watch a movie that takes place in New York.
And they filmed it in Atlanta
or something like that. I get that now. And like
this is a upsetting feeling. I don't like it. I don't want to live with this. I'm watching the trailer muted so I can hear what you're saying, and I'm not getting at all what this movie is about. I just see a lot of people with like Moon Knight costumes and people with afros.
It's basically about.
Is that Topher Grace?
Yes,
with a mustache.
He's playing David Duke. Okay, so the premise is there's this black cop working with the Springs Police Department, who over the phone portrays a white supremacist, and then Adam Driver plays the white supremacist in person. And they try to like infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan, and like discover what their evil plan is.
Oh, okay. So these two cool guys try to take on the KKK.
Yeah.
And find out what the Moon Knight group is up to.
Exactly, the Moon KKK Night.
The first comment is, "Damn it, Eric, your life really went downhill since Donna left you." Because it looks like it takes place in the 70s and it has Topher Grace in it.
Oh, nice.
Hanging out down the street. The same
I've never
old
watched
thing
an episode of
we did last week.
That 70s show in my life.
Not a thing to do.
Is it a good show?
'Cause we're all right. 'Cause we're all right.
Is it a good show?
Hello, Wisconsin.
Is it a good show, though?
It's alright. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's good enough that I remember the theme song.
I remember the theme song to The Big Bang Theory. That's not exactly a compliment.
Oh, hey, is this the trailer for the Tremors TV show starring Kevin Bacon that got canceled?
Oh. Don't talk about Tremors because I don't care.
Ow! I sneezed and my headphones fell off and I banged my knee. What's up? How you doing? Can you still hear me?
Yes. Can I also say that I have discovered that there are indeed Thanos X reader fanfictions.
God fucking damn it.
Would you like to read one?
Who wants to fuck Thanos?
Horny, lonely women.
God damn it! Everyone's so weird.
Look who's speaking.
Yeah! When I'm saying you're weird, there's a problem. Okay? People who want to have sex with Thanos? Alright. People who write Thanos X reader fanfictions are on my shit list, along with all Republicans and all Democrats.
So here, let's see. So there's the
and anyone who's ever unironically used the word hella. Fucking Josh, piece of shit. David, are you upset because you've unironically used the word hella?
No, but somebody I know has. Remember?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, after all of the talk of like the morals of Deadpool and you know the current state of the movie industry. We actually had good
conversations, but now this is the point where it's just devolving into utter nonsense. At this point in the podcast, it's just Dane, Joey, and
Diego watching.
Listening.
Well, Jacob watches it too, I think.
Jacob, okay.
Hey, Jacob, how you doing?
Hey, 4 people who are still watching the podcast. So I
enjoyed watching the Sam Raimi trilogy with you and Sadie the other day.
So Jacob, the most honest tag in the Thanos X reader fanfiction that I find is I need Jesus. Yes, you do.
Who is your Lord? What, do you want me to say Jesus? There you go. There's an Infinity War reference for you. Because I'm one of those hip, cool kids that watches the Marvel movies.
What kind of a nerd watches Marvel movies?
I've never watched a comic book before.
Oh, and speaking
I only
of
read the
trailers,
movies.
Hey, did you see that there's the trailer out for Andy Serkis's The Jungle Book?
Really?
Yeah. They call it Mowgli because they don't want to call it a Jungle Book because the Disney Jungle Book already came out.
Why is my phone playing music now inexplicably?
What music is it playing?
Started playing a song by Sleigh Bells, which is a very good band.
Well,
we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah. That's why I said that nobody's watching at this point.
Damn!
Also, speaking of Deadpool 2, one other thing. Did you notice who the kid actor who played the Fire Kid is from?
No.
He's a New Zealand actor, so he's been in... That's right, a Taika Waititi film. He was in, what was it? What was it? Hunt for the Wilder People.
Oh, okay. Oh, hey, the piece of art I commissioned is almost done.
What a nerd. Commissioning art. So, time for a fun story. About Andy Serkis's film Mowgli. You know how Disney made the live-action Jungle Book movie, and then that same year, and then the same year that Disney's Jungle Book came out, was the year that Warner Brothers' A Legend of Tarzan came out, and nobody actually watched that. Well, around the time that happened, they'd already filmed Andy Serkis's The Jungle Book.
Oh no!
By the time that The Legend of Tarzan came out and underperformed, and also Disney's Jungle Book made almost $1 billion. So
that surprises me that it made that amount of money.
So, what do you do when when the director of Iron Man 2 makes almost $1 billion making the same movie that you're making, and you're Warner Brothers, you've got Andy Serkis's film shot, but it's very heavily animated. So
you can't cancel a movie after it's been shot.
So it's been shot, but it hasn't been VFX'd because it's basically like the Jungle Book movie in that it's basically an animated movie with a kid actor running around in it.
Yeah.
So what do you do? You've got this movie shot.
You delay it like fucking crazy.
Exactly. So
and then hope for the best.
It was pre-production from like 2012 until like 2014, and then like Andy Serkis shoots it in the summer of 2015, and then
shooting a movie in 2015 and then releasing it in 2019 is kind of embarrassing. Oh, hang on, I'm getting a phone call.
So
keep talking. Yeah, what's up? Hey, what's up?
I mean, it's not the longest time that it's taken between
I'm in the middle of the podcast
pre-production
right
and filming and release date,
recorded and put online.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly inspire confidence.
David's just talking about the Jungle Book movie that Andy Serkis's
directorial debut.
Wait, what? Huh?
Wait, what? Huh?
No, yeah, I'm not. You're not on speaker.
You're not on speaker.
You want to be?
Do you want to be?
No.
No.
Okay. Because they could finally hear what my dad.
They can finally hear what my dad sounds like.
David's just saying everything I'm saying.
David's just saying I'm saying right now.
Punch him. Ow.
Ow.
I fell in lava. I'm also trying to multitask and play this Spawn video game so I could do a review for it.
Why would you do that?
Doing a lot of things right now. Anyway, what do you need?
Here's a funny detail, though.
Okay.
Andy Serkis' directorial debut, i.e. the first movie that he shot, was Mowgli, the Jungle Book movie. But he made another movie called Breathe with Andrew Garfield that came out last year before his actual first movie was made, comes out.
Sure, I guess.
Sure, I guess.
Just make sure you tell me how much money you're going to transfer before you do it. Like, you've been trying to save up.
Oh, man.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, within a day. Yeah, okay.
Stop
All right.
talking
Got
about
another paycheck coming in on
stuff.
Tuesday. I worked a lot of hours this week. Like 11 hours one day and then 9 the next.
Oop,
so
privacy.
Should be a nice... Okay, all right. Yeah, that works. David's just trying so hard to come up with something interesting to say while I'm having this conversation.
I'm probably just going to edit all this out right now.
No, I don't work on Thursday. I work on Wednesday.
I don't work at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
you.
won't have to be late to work.
I won't have to be late for work.
Everyone say thank you to my dad.
Everyone say thank you to his dad.
David's probably going to edit all this
David's
out.
probably going to edit all this out, but...
I love you, Dad.
Don't.
Bye now.
Bye now.
See ya.
See ya.
You know, I realized something about Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
What about... What?
His dick is really poorly defined in a lot of drawings. He looks kind of like he's flat down here.
And you noticed this because...
Well, I mean, this the same reason you do, bitch.
Because you have a good eye for anatomy?
Yes. I study drawings very detailed manner.
Especially male drawings.
Yeah, I'm always like looking like way close at the dicks. Every time Sadie and I are watching a movie, I always pause it and then just like zoom in the monitor so I could look at the dick of the main character. She's like, "Why are you doing that?"
Actually, I've got like I've talked to like artist friends, and they say that drawing women is so much easier than drawing men.
It's because there's a lot of softer edges.
Yeah. So
men are just like big angular triangle people full of like hard shapes.
So
as women, you can just draw out of circles.
So instead of making the Jungle Book 2, as he was originally intending to do after making the first one, director Jon Favreau.
Good luck editing all that.
Do you want to know what he's making now?
What?
The Lion King.
Jesus fucking Christ.
With Donald Glover, Beyonce, and John Oliver.
I love Donald Glover's music. I recently started getting into it.
Man, what a... Are you a liberal or something?
A racist?
Yes, he's a racist.
Yes, I'm... That's why I like Donald Glover's music, is because I hate black people.
Donald Glover doesn't care about black people.
You know who's a confusing person?
Who?
Kanye. The fuck is Kanye doing right now?
I have a feeling...
Also, Kanye's music sucks. Don't at me.
I have a feeling that,
No one man should have all that power.
You know the one thing... Do you know what...
I want to fuck you on the sink.
Do you know the
such
one reason...
Stunning, world-changing lyrics.
Okay, so I don't have a feeling that Kanye even actually likes Donald Trump's policies. I just think that Kanye...
I just think he wants to be contrarian.
Kanye sees a fellow blowhard in Donald Trump. As in somebody who is stuck...
Someone who's also full of themselves.
Somebody who is stuck as far up their own ass as he is up his.
And he's like, I respect how much you don't respect anyone except yourself.
Exactly. What do you think of my theory?
I think that's absolutely right. I think Kanye he just identifies with Trump. Because Trump also can't rap.
What are you talking about? Trump is a better rapper than Kanye.
True. What the fuck? When did I get this? I just realized in my inventory I have like guns that shoot out flaming skulls.
So
when did I get that?
Isn't this kind of funny that Donald Glover is going to be in the Jungle Book movie and Han Solo the movie, and he would have been Deadpool
and he's playing
as well.
a pansexual in both.
So Simba's a pansexual?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
What?
He wants to fuck his Uncle Scar.
What?
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 This is the world that Disney is built
Okay,
for
so Donald Glover has now been in every single major part of the Disney movie empire, because he was in Spider-Man: Homecoming, so he's in the MCU. He's in Solo, so he's in Star Wars.
Shitty uncle.
And then he's in Lion King, so he's in the Disney sort of animation empire.
True facts. Donald Glover, I feel like, needs to be the main character in something, but instead is always playing like a supporting role.
He's going to be the main character in Lion King, because he's playing Simba.
No, not in... I mean, like, a voice acting role in, like, a CGI animal movie doesn't count. Tobey Maguire was the main character in Cats and Dogs.
Well, there's that TV show he's written. He writes.
Oh, you mean Deadpool?
No, he stars in, directs, writes, and is created by called Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
Starring Domino.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was in that. You know, I wasn't on board for that casting at the start, but goddamn was she so good. Much like... She was really good. She was so much like Comic Domino in terms of personality that I didn't even remember that she looked wrong anymore after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, good on you. You got that character right. At least writing-wise.
What about editing-wise?
They did a really good job making her powers look cool.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I've been given a text message.
What horror?
Okay, never mind. My dad was asking for a copy of a video game.
Who needs video games?
You're a video game.
Video games are for nerds.
You're a nerd.
And for
anyway,
virgins.
Do you think we should be done with the podcast for today?
So I think with that discovery that video games are for virgin nerds, we can end.
Nerds. You know what? You know what's the dumbest thing ever, David?
What?
Because you keep calling me a virgin as a joke, my girlfriend started doing it. And I'm like, are you really?
Yes. Yes.
You of all people?
Yes. I'm so happy.
When you've had proof to the contrary?
I'm so happy.
She keeps doing it now. I'm like, damn it, David.
Well, it's funny.
God damn it. I'm going to be living with this forever.
It's funny.
I'm going to have 2 kids, and people are still going to be calling me a virgin.
Well, you could have adopted them.
But there's only 2 red-headed children left in all of the world. We're gonna have like this like YA.
Okay, so
the Last Ginger Fighter.
Okay, so I've heard that that red-headed people are dying out, and
yeah, because we keep getting killed by
I'm happy.
Normies. Fuck you.
Why?
Because the lady who plays Nebula has red hair, and you like her.
Well, those are Scottish people. Scottish people aren't dying out. Only redheads.
No, that no. Ah!
Okay, David Tennant is Scottish, and he's not a redhead.
I'm gonna kill you. Didn't the doctor say he wanted to be a ginger?
Yes.
And now he's a woman?
Aren't they the same thing?
Shit,
you
man,
are a lesbian.
I should be a trap.
And you should annoy You should annoy Josh with that.
Yeah, because Josh says traps are gay.
No, he gets really annoyed.
He gets really defensive about it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There's one time on one of the live streams where he was just screaming traps are gay over and over again, and we're like, you've kissed a guy!
It's so it's just so hilarious.
Why are you so upset?
Like, it's just a joke.
Are you projecting because you secretly wish you were a trap, Josh?
Yes, he does.
Anyway, yeah. What a weird, like, set of self-discoveries we've had this podcast.
Including the fact that Xavier's going to be permanently a virgin for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I'm gonna have 2 kids and still be a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm basically married.
Well, it's also that all gingers are automatically virgins.
Gingers are incapable of having
That's
sex.
why they're dying out.
They're like pandas.
They just need, like, a panda Viagra.
Yeah, alright. So we've discovered a couple of things. I'm so fucking all over the map politically that no one can get a read on what exactly I actually believe now because I keep contradicting it. And I seem to just hate everyone who has an opinion, no matter what it is.
Well, I hate everyone anyway, despite having semi-consistent political beliefs.
Yeah, and that's true. We've discovered that you would indeed fuck Thanos, and that's okay. That's
Twitter, not.
Oh yeah, you did a whole thing on Twitter about how Thanos and Cable are both very thick. But you do Cable, right?
Yes.
Okay. Would you let him like caress you with his robot arm? Would it be like too cold?
Maybe.
Okay, what if you make him wear a glove over it? No condoms except on your robot arm.
Why are we like this? I mean, like.
Why are we like this? We discovered that I'm gonna be a cross-dresser soon, while also dating a woman.
Because like, we were like semi-intelligent for the first half of it. So of course the second half
we just got into Xavier is going to be a lesbian territory.
Of course, because normally we start out by being crazy and then we end off being.
I can't tell where the jokes end and the truth begins.
What
the fuck is what?
I was singing the X-Files theme.
That's not okay.
Why do you have to be so good at noises?
I don't know.
Why don't you know?
Watchmen TV series confirmed will tell different story than the original
From
movie
Damon
and comic.
Lindelof.
Oh. We have no desire to adapt original story. You know what? Anything that gets me more stuff with Rorschach in it, because that is one of the most amazing fucking fictional characters ever created.
Remember when Jackson went to Comic-Con as Rorschach and he just went out around high-fiving all the other Rorschachs?
Oh yeah, because there was like 5 or 6 other Rorschachs, and he made sure to get a picture with all of them, and his costume was the best one because I made it.
Stop patting yourself on the back, you...
No, show it on screen. I will send you
Virgin.
pictures of his Rorschach cosplay so you can put it on screen right now and show over. I made that in a day. I went to like a whole bunch of like used clothing stores and like the Goodwill and a Halloween store, and I put it together in one day because he just said I want a Rorschach costume, and I said I'm gonna need $70 and that's it, and I did it. Are you gonna put it on screen? Did you put it on screen?
I guess we'll have to see in editing.
Everyone yell at David on Twitter if he didn't do it.
Nobody's watching at this point.
Like 4 people are watching and we appreciate them.
Well, you do at
God
least.
damn it! I appreciate Dane! And Joey, and Diego, and Jacob.
And Dane.
And Dane. JJDD. Jacob, Joey, Dane, Diego. My boys. My 4 sons. I'm like Splinter and they're the Ninja Turtles.
What does that make me?
You're Professor Honeycutt. Because you're effeminate and a robot.
What? I don't know who this character is.
Fan art, please. Do that.
No! Please.
Yeah! Yeah! Ninja Turtles! Podcast over. Fuck you. Bye.
Bye.